I had booked the cruise, but without my knowledge, my girlfriend secretly downgraded my cabin so she could upgrade her friend's accommodations. When I discovered it midway through the trip, well, let's just say her reaction to what I did next was unforgettable. Hey there, and welcome to Reddit Visuals. Today, I'm sharing the story of how I paid for a luxury getaway, only to end up stuffed into a cramped, windowless cabin like I was nothing more than excess baggage, all because my girlfriend decided her friends deserved better treatment than I did. But don't worry, I took care of the situation. And trust me, you'll want to hear how that played out. It all started with what I'd planned to be the perfect vacation. I had just wrapped up a grueling contract for a demanding client. Months of back-to-back 80-hour work weeks. I kept telling myself, you've earned a break. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who flaunts wealth, no yachts, no flashy watches. But when I travel, I like to do it comfortably. I wanted something relaxing but still special. After some research, I landed on a 10-day Caribbean cruise. Not your average trip, either. This one offered fine dining, adults-only pools, real linens, not those scratchy budget motel sheets. Basically, a proper luxury experience. I splurged on a premium suite with a balcony, a private bar, a king-size bed, the works. And here's where the story starts to take a turn. My girlfriend, Leia, had been hinting for a while that she'd love a girls' trip. So I figured, why not make a group outing? I'd cover the cost of my suite, and Leia could bring 2 of her friends along, as long as they paid for their own cabins. She acted thrilled, told me I was incredibly generous. Said her friends, Tara and Maddie, were beyond excited. 2 months later, cruise day finally arrived. The ship was buzzing with energy, upbeat music, tropical drinks flowing. Everyone dressed like their vacation had already begun. But right from the start, something felt off. Leia kept wandering off, whispering with her friends in hushed tones. And strangely, I couldn't find our suite on the deck plan. I brushed it off, thinking maybe the layout had changed or the concierge would direct us. When I handed over our reservation at check-in, the attendant gave me a polite but puzzled smile. "Sir, this is for cabin 2B, an inside cabin, no balcony." I stared, thinking I had misheard. No, that can't be right. I booked the Neptune suite, balcony, oceanfront. She double-checked. "This is what's on file. You're assigned to cabin 2B. That's when I felt the first pang of suspicion. An inside cabin, tiny, no windows, 2 twin beds shoved together, and a curtain that barely muffled the noise from hallway. I could actually hear someone sneezing in the next room. I walked out, my heart pounding, and spotted Leia laughing with Tara and Maddie at the bar. I gently pulled her aside and said, "Hey, something's wrong. Our room is in the suite I booked." For a split second, her smile slipped. Then she quickly recovered and said, "Oh, I meant to mention we had to make a slight change." A slight change. I stared at her, staying silent, waiting for an explanation. She gave me this wide-eyed, innocent expression and said, "I thought it'd be more fun if we were all on the same deck. So I switched things up. The girls are in the suite now. We're in a double. But it'll be great. We'll be together the whole time." I stood there, stunned. I couldn't even form a response. She downgraded my room, the luxury suite I paid for, and handed it over to her friends, without even asking. And the way she said it, like it was no big deal, that made it sting even more. That night, I hardly slept. The bed squeaked with every tiny move. The air felt heavy and stale. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to Leia snore softly beside me, and thinking, what just happened? The next morning, I went straight to the front desk to check the account details. And of course, my card was still covering the charges for the suite. Leia hadn't just swapped rooms. She upgraded her friends under my name, on my dime, and stuck me with a cheap cabin like I was an afterthought. I didn't confront her right away. I needed time to think, to cool off, to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. By the 3rd day, though, I wasn't shocked anymore. I was furious. That afternoon, while Leia and her friends were off enjoying massages, I stayed back and started making calls. To the concierge, the front desk, the booking team. By the time they returned, everything was handled. That evening at dinner, the maitre d' approached and politely asked if he could speak with Leia for a moment. She got up, looking puzzled, and followed him away. I stayed seated, casually returning to my meal like nothing had happened. About 10 minutes later, she stormed back to the table, her face red, her expression frantic. "What the hell did you do?" she snapped. Her friends froze mid-bite. "What's going on?" Maddie asked. Leia leaned in, practically hissing. "They kicked us out of the suite." I gave her a slow, calm nod. "Yeah, I asked them to move you. I also fixed the billing. Didn't want to keep paying for 3 people living the high life under my name." Tara blinked. "Wait, so we're not in the suite anymore?" I smiled politely. "Nope. You're in the same cozy inside cabin Leia and I were staying in. Twin beds, no windows, the works. Oh, and you'll need your own card on file from now on." That's when Leia exploded. She accused me of humiliating her, called me petty, said I was controlling, even jealous. Tara chimed in, claiming I didn't want them to have any fun. Maddie kept her mouth shut. I stood up, calmly placed my napkin on the table, and said, "You didn't ask. You didn't tell me. You took my money and made choices like it was yours. You used me, so now I'm using my voice." Then I walked away. I moved into the suite alone. The staff even sent up a complimentary bottle of wine after I explained what happened. Guess they'd seen this kind of mess before. Leia didn't say a word to me that night. She bunked with Maddie in the tiny cabin. The next morning, there was a soft knock at my suite door. It was Leia. She apologized, claimed she'd only been trying to make the trip more fun for her friends. Said it wasn't meant to feel like a betrayal. I asked her one question. If I hadn't found out, would you have ever told me? She didn't answer. By the end of the cruise, we were barely speaking. On the last night, she finally asked, "Are you going to break up with me?" I looked at her and said, "I already did. 3 days ago, the moment you decided your comfort and your image with your friends mattered more than honesty, respect, or even basic decency. When we docked, I disembarked alone. She tried texting. She called. She even emailed me 7 long paragraphs, starting with, 'I know I messed up,' and ending with, 'But you overreacted.' Maybe I did overreact. Or maybe I finally reacted the way I should have a long time ago, like someone who knows their worth." And here's the kicker. A few weeks later, I saw Tara had plastered cruise photos all over Instagram. Her caption? "Living like queens. Couldn't have asked for a better trip. #blessed. Not a single mention of who footed the bill. Not a word about what really went down. Just another fake, glossy post built on disrespect. So, Reddit Visuals family, was I the jerk for how I handled it? What would you have done? Would you have just swallowed it and enjoyed the trip?